This partly sunny weather here today because we have been plagued by rain. In fact, there was so much that it washed out Bush Pole qualifying both on Friday and Saturday. They will start today according to the point standings, and that has meant a very interesting lineup. It's benefited some, it has hurt others. More on that. Here's Ned and Benny.
Well, Bob, you're certainly right. It sure helps some people. Dale Earnhardt will start on the pole, but Ned, I'm not sure it helped Earnhardt that much. He had a fast car.
He had an awfully fast car. In fact, in practice on Friday afternoon, he turned a lap faster than the track record, so everybody figures he'd have been on the pole anyway.
But one kid it did help, and I think Ned and I can call him a kid, Jeff Gordon, who's 21 years old. He'll start fifth today. He came here thinking that 21st was the best he could start because of the rule that rookies can't qualify. Well, NASCAR waived that rule. He could have qualified, but whether or not he could have qualified fifth, that's yet to be determined. He will start fifth, and Jeff, let me tell you something. Don't get too pumped to run this place. I know you're high. You could probably go duck hunting with a rake, but believe me, you don't want to be high at this place. I came here in 1984, won the race in Atlanta, sat on the pole here. I didn't make it through turn 2, crashed on the very first lap. So, Jeff, just detune yourself a little bit.
Well, this place will jump out and get you.
North Carolina, outside the Motorcraft 4, driven by Jeff Bodine, number 15. He's from Chemung, New York. Second row, Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac number 2. And the Daytona winner, the Interstate Battery Chevrolet number 18, driven by Dale Jarrett from Hickory, North Carolina. Third row, rookie Jeff Gordon from Pittsboro, Indiana in the DuPont Chevrolet number 24, alongside Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas in the Valvoline Ford number 6. 13th starting position goes to Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia in the Tide Chevrolet number 5. Then the number 7 Hooters Ford, driven by defending Winston Cup champion Alan Kulwicki. Kyle Petty goes next in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac car number 42. Then Dale Earnhardt, followed by Brett Bodine, and then Rusty Wallace.
We're looking from inside Morgan Shepherd's car right directly behind Mark Martin as he watches Martin getting underneath Jeff Gordon coming off turn 2. Has position down the back straightaway.
And he'll have the advantage going into turn 3. Let's see if Gordon backs off. Yes, he does. That was a smart thing to do because Mark Martin had the preferred line.
And here comes Morgan Shepherd now to the inside of Jeff Gordon as Jeff battles back on the outside, maintains that position.
I tell you what, Jeff Gordon doing some serious racing here at the old lady.
Let's further explain this qualifying thing. The rule was that if you are a rookie, you cannot participate in first day qualifying.
I said qualifying, right. Not first day, yes.
And they changed the rule to read you have to be a track rookie. You must never have competed here before.
And let's face it, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, and Kenny Wallace, they're not rookies at this racetrack. They've got plenty of experience here.
And one thing that Jeff Gordon talked about was exactly what you talked about, Benny, and how he's going to have to maintain his cool. He's, of course, he grew up in short track racing. And fourth position now is Jeff Gordon, who is doing a great job in his rookie Winston Cup start here at Darlington. Jerry?
And Bob, it's a few laps ago, Jeff Gordon got an official introduction to Darlington Raceway. Coming off turn 4, he smacked the wall with the right side of the car. I spoke with Ray Abraham a minute ago. Ray said, well, the car's a little bit tight, so it's hard to turn. A number of drivers complaining of tight race cars being hard to turn. But Gordon now officially has his first Darlington strike.
I tell you what, Ned, Jeff Gordon is looking just as well here in Darlington as he has all the rest of the racetrack.
He has looked exceptionally well. He has driven the car well.
He came in for their stops. Here's the leader, Mark Martin, coming down.
He just can't stand to stay on the racetrack, running 2 seconds of a lap slower than Dale Earnhardt's going to run when he gets back out there. He's got to come in and get him some tires.
Yeah, if you stay out there 5 more laps, that's 10 seconds. They'd be ahead of you.
Steve Meal and the crew goes to work. Jerry, are you there?
We are here, and they have the right side tires off. Left side lug nuts already loosened. Fueling the car. Now Steve Meal and crew come around on the left side. Jack already under the car. Left rear, left front. Now the catch can man goes across. Down and away. 18.2 seconds. What a pit stop for the Valvoline crew.
Now the rookie driver, Jeff Gordon, coming into the pits in the DuPont Chevrolet. He would have taken over the lead. In fact, he might have still led the lap because he came across the start-finish line down Homestead Road. Kyle Petty is in. Jeff Bodine should be the leader of the race now. Let's go back to the pits.
Let's watch Ray Abraham and his crew go to work on the DuPont Chevrolet. The Hendrick old machine of rookie driver Jeff Gordon. Already the right side tires on. Gordon again, an 18.2-second stop on the Valvoline car, Mark Martin. Another great stop, 20.8. Not a bad stop for a brand new crew.
Not as good as they'd like to. Morgan now tries to make a move on the inside of Davey Allison. Davey's car just doesn't really seem to be getting through the turns. Certainly not the way he would like for it to.
You see Alan Kulwicki, the Hooters Ford, is pulled up, and look how Morgan Shepherd just put 4 or 5 car links on Davey in no time, and Alan Kulwicki goes by with ease.
Now these cars, gentlemen, are only about a straightaway ahead of Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin, so they got to hustle to stay in the lead lap. And their crews are telling them that. They know where they stand.
The Jeff Gordon pit. John? Well, Jerry, just a few laps ago, a potential problem for the rookie driver, Jeff Gordon. They couldn't reach him on the radio. They checked around frantically, all the members of the crew, to check and make sure their radio wasn't keyed, because that's what it sounded like. Somebody's radio was keyed, bleeding over on Jeff and wiping him out. What they determined was that someone in the near vicinity were on a similar frequency and were wiping Jeff out. Could potentially be a big problem, but not so. They had a backup channel. They have gone to the backup channel, so now everything is okay. They have reestablished communication with Gordon. Having put right side tires on that car, putting left side tires on. As Musgrave's car comes down, Rusty pulls out, Musgrave in, and Musgrave hits the brakes.
And Jerry, Jeff Gordon has crashed. Jeff Gordon has crashed, and the yellow flag is coming out.
And that's a disadvantage for Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace, who had just made pit stops. I expect we're going to see them a lap down. Everybody else will get to come in and make their pit stops under caution.
Well, I don't know what happened to Jeff going in turn 1. I have no idea. We can see we can make some heavy contact, and I'm telling you, this place is unbelievable.
He shortened up that car considerably, didn't he?
Sure did. Man, he's hit the wall hard. We can see that Jeff is okay. He's driving the car back, and he's about as hot as you can get. Because he had a great run going. Was running 3rd, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Pretty far ahead of Jeff Bodine, who was running in the 4th position at that time. Matter of fact, he had moved up to 2nd after Earnhardt had made his pit stop.
And there we see him slowly going down pits. And the official said, go take it to the garage area.
Yeah.
Don't bring it on pit road. So he makes it hard left. And they're going to have to work on the car either behind their pit or by their truck.
Meanwhile, the pace car has pulled out onto the racetrack and picked up
Off the front grille. Mark had complained of the car being just a little bit too tight, but we just talked with Steve Hill. He doesn't anticipate making...
at Darlington under caution. The NASCAR Winston Cup Trans-South Financial 500. Under caution for the first time due to a crash involving Jeff Gordon. Here's Jerry.
Well, the 21-year-old rookie sitting in the car, and Jeff, you had a great run going, running 3rd. What happened out there?
You know, I'm just so frustrated right now. I cannot believe Michael Waltrip. I mean, I got new tires. I'm getting ready to make a pit stop, running 3rd. He's however many laps down. I mean, he knows better. He's been running too long in Winston Cup to know that the difference between the speed of new tires and old tires is great here at Darlington. There's a big difference. And I mean, I was giving him the inside, and what'd he do? He just drove right into me.
How bad is the car hurt, Jeffrey?
Oh, I mean, you know, I hit pretty hard. I hit a lot harder than I thought I was going to. All I could do is just lock it down. I'm just devastated. I cannot believe he ran into me. I mean, there was just no questions about it. He just drove in there. I'm sure he just drove in too hard and just drove into me.
A very frustrated and devastated young man, and his DuPont Chevrolet heavily damaged. The entire rear of the car has been pushed in, shortened by about 4.5 feet. Ray Abraham and the rest of the DuPont crew trying to get the car pushed out, and a young man sitting in the seat. You could hear how upset this 21-year-old rookie actually was, Bob.
Yeah, you can hear the hammers and the other tools that are already in motion trying to repair this car to the point of getting it back onto the racetrack. Well, this brings up an interesting subject. How do you build a Winston Cup car? Here's Benny. And we'll look forward to that at Bristol next week. Meanwhile, the field has just received the green flag. They've raced under green for less than a half a lap. Now, there are the 13th and 14th place cars, Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. They are 13th and 14th. They're on the lead lap, but the length of the racetrack behind the leader of this event, and that is the number 6 car of Mark Martin.
Yeah, he's several cars in front of him. And two of them, Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt, are only one lap down. Well, they're not really a lap down. They're in the tail end of the lead lap. Let's also mention that Alan Kulwicki stayed out and did not pit on the first lap of the caution. He could have, but he stayed out and led the race, got himself 5 bonus points. He really didn't lose that much because he was back there about 12th to 13th anyway, so he's still there about the 15th time.
That's how you win Winston Cup championships, by getting as many bonus points as possible. And Alan has received his for this race.
In fact, he's 11th right now.
Trans-South Financial 500 being led by number 6, Mark Martin. Has gone into second position. Sterling Marlin has completed his pit stop.
Tell you what, Sterling Marlin having a good run today. Jeff Gordon goes back on the racetrack. A little Band-Aid on the back of that thing, but I tell you what, they've straightened it out pretty well.
Yeah, they sure have. Yep, that thing was all caved in.
But Eddie Dickerson and the boys at Frame Buildup can put a new rear clip on that car tomorrow. That's for sure. Looks like whatever changes they've made are working great.
Here's the Western Auto race summary. Mark has led 105 of the 200 laps. We have 14 cars on the lead lap, 11 leaders and 16 changes. Only 2 caution periods for a total of 10, and the average speed of the race is 138.10 miles an hour. Those that have led include Martin, Earnhardt, Petty, Waltrip, Kulwicki, Schrader, Jeff Bodine, Terry Labonte. Jeff Gordon led a lap. So did Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd.
Hey, that's pretty neat where it shows how many laps they led.
Yep. Here are the cars that are out of the race, including Harry Gant, Bill Parsons, Michael Waltrip, and Kenny Wallace. There's Earnhardt, the leader, and Mark Martin running second. In the last 5 Trans-South 500s, Martin's finished 6th, 4th, 2nd, 4th, 3rd. He's second today and has led most of the race. We'll be right back to Darlington.
Here's a good battle. Ricky Rudd and Alan Kulwicki battling each other. That is for the 8th and 9th position. Right now, Alan Kulwicki has the 8th position. Rudd trying to take it away.
And here he comes on the inside. Has position. They come off their corner side by side. Well, they made it. Now look at Marlin.
Don't go 3 abreast into this turn. Sterling knew that.
He got way down the inside. Kicked up the dust. Look at this.
He said, let those guys settle their battle, and then I'll deal with them individually.
Kulwicki should have a good run off that corner.
Oh!
He slipped a little bit.
Yeah, slipping coming off the corner. Now, Rudd falls back in line and says, okay, let's cool it for a while.
And while we're watching that battle, Dale Jarrett got back around Kenny Schrader, moved into 4th. Now this is the 8th, 9th, 10th positions. Terry Labonte is in there, 11th. He's not far behind him. There he is.
Kulwicki, he got
Did it again, didn't he?
He did it again.
Coverage of the Trans-South Financial 5.
And now Mark Martin pulls out. He will head back toward turn 1.
Alan Kulwicki also in. He's the defending Winston Cup champion, and so he gets to pick first the pit stall that he wants. And of course, he chooses the one at far end of pit road. Morgan Shepherd is on in the pit.
Ken Schrader going out. He just got his service. And Brett Bodine going out in the Quaker State Ford. So these are regularly scheduled pit stops. See Kulwicki going back out.
And they're going to need at least one more.
Right? Yes. Oh, yes. They might need 2 more. And
no, they should be able to make it on 1 more from here on. 367 laps. We got.
We're 95 from the end right now.
Yeah.
So
I guess 1 more will do it fine.
Yep. Darlington International Raceway here in South Carolina. We'd like to remind you that at midnight tonight, you can see the Formula One race next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Join us for more NASCAR Winston Cup competition from Bristol International Raceway. That's the Food City 500, where Alan Kulwicki is the defending champion. Boy, it's always exciting to go to Bristol.
Davey Allison coming in for what should be his last pit stop. He's being shown in the 10th position right now, 1 lap behind the leader. Here comes Alan Kulwicki down the pit road in the Hooters Ford. Alan in 5th position.
Everybody getting in position for the final charge to the checkered flag.
You see the clock going up. After Davey Allison's pit stop, 19.5 seconds.
Yep. Now Kulwicki, John Kernan.
Well, it's another 4-tire change for Alan Kulwicki. And you know, a couple of pit stops ago, he had radioed in and told crew chief Paul Andrews that he thought he had a car that could contend for the win. And all of a sudden, the clouds came in, car tightened up, couldn't run very well. He was finally down and away.
You know, Earnhardt ought to catch the same amount on the straightaway as Martin does, but let's see. Now this is basically a clean racetrack.
Here comes another Napa Field summary here for you, showing 4 cars on the lead lap.
And this will be the last one you'll see today. At the end, you'll see a finishing result, but Bill Elliott back up 4 laps behind. Bobby Labonte, the leading MaxCart rookie contender.
Jeff Gordon, 24th.
It says out. I guess he is out now, isn't he?
Yeah, he came back and ran some laps, but I think he's out now. There's Kyle Petty and Morgan Shepherd as they are.
That's Alan.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I looked away too soon. That's quickly we forget the champion.
And both those cars wiggling badly as they come off the corner. That's the race for 6th, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think both of them realize it is a race for 6. And I think they're probably cooler heads will prevail. Meanwhile, Mark Martin just after that the sun went behind the clouds, or as John says, the sun went down. He really started having problems.
Now, if points were awarded right now, Alan Kulwicki would show the greatest increase in terms of movement in the point standings. He would gain 4 positions into 10th.
Here we got a race going again between these two guys. Kulwicki pulled up on the outside of Kyle Petty. I thought he had the front. Petty fought back.
He gave it a look, but wasn't able to do it. He's up a little.
Wiggling a little bit there,
Yeah,
too.
he is.
Very high. Kyle still running down low. Didn't get his left wheel down on the flat that time coming around there. But
if there wasn't 3 laps to go, a bunch of these cars would be hitting pit road right now. Here's Kulwicki once again going to try it on the outside. He's got a pretty good run on Kyle.
Nope, don't think so.
that's 4 points.
Oh, baby.
It was a lot. It wasn't as close.
Excuse me.
Less than.
It was a long time ago.
The 54th win of his illustrious career in Winston Cup competition. Here is Dale Earnhardt winning the Trans-South Financial 500. Mark Martin finishes in 2nd position. Here comes Alan Kulwicki and Petty, who really got down on the apron that lap, battling for position, but Kulwicki got it. That's 6th and 7th.
Well, the last time we had looked at them badly, the 42 car was ahead, but he slipped into the wall and Kulwicki got by him, but Kyle couldn't get him that time.
John Kernan is down in Dale's pit with Andy Petrie. Now, here are the unofficial results of this event. A couple of guys had their best finishes of 1993. Ken Schrader did, and also Terry Labonte, who you will see here coming up in 9th position, also had his best finish of 1993.
Morgan Shepherd in 10th spot, the winner last week. Davey Allison back in 11th. Bill Elliott back in 14th, the winner of this race last year.
Rick Mast finally finished 15th there today, kept his car running all day. DW in 16th place there we see, and Ricky Rudd with all of his problems, he ran up in the top 10 until he started having those problems, wound up 19th.
That 19th place finish does not indicate how well he ran at times. Jeff Gordon had a good run going, hit the wall, finished 24th.
And Jeff Gordon really needed to run all day and see what the weather conditions changing did to the racetrack so he would know what to do for his car in the future.
See, Hutch Strickland wound up 28th. He had a good run going also. Ran up in the top 10 until he started having problems, finally fell out of the race.
Rookie contender Kenny Wallace 32nd, Michael Waltrip 33rd. And there's 36 through 39 as Harry Gant finishes in 37th position. Now let's take a look at the point standings. Earnhardt is on top. Rusty Wallace moved up a spot. Jeff Bodine down a spot. Dale Jarrett stays the same, and Mark Martin moved up to 5th position. 6 through 10 in the point standings, Shepard gained 2 spots, Allison gained 2, Jeff Gordon lost 3, Alan Kulwicki gained 5, and Ernie Irvin lost 3 positions in the point standings. And there is 11th through 15th, Kyle, Ken, Ricky Rudd, Hut Strickland, and Jimmy Spencer. Those are the first 15 in the point standings as we complete the 5th race of the year and look ahead now to Bristol next weekend. Well, coming up at midnight tonight, it's the Grand Prix of Brazil, the second race of the 1993 Formula One season. Of course, it was a very exciting event. We hope that you can be with us at midnight tonight, Eastern Time. That's 9 o'clock on the West Coast. And next week, we'll be live for the Food City 500 from Bristol at 1 o'clock Eastern Time next Sunday afternoon. That is 10 o'clock on the West Coast. And we thank you for joining us here at Darlington Raceway this afternoon, where Dale Earnhardt has won his first victory of the 1993 season, defeating Mark Martin. And my thanks to John Kernan and Jerry Punch for their help in the pit area, and to Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett here in the booth. We'll see you next weekend. For now, this is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.
It was shortly before 9:30 p.m., April 1st, when a small plane went down near Blountville, Tennessee, killing all 4 passengers aboard, including the reigning Winston Cup champion, Alan Kulwicki. The crash site was just 6 miles from Tri-City Airport, where they were headed for the race in nearby Bristol, Tennessee. That night and the next day, news of Kulwicki's death comes as a shock to most of the racing community already in Bristol.
I went to the garage today and talked to all the guys, or as many as I could. It's like everybody wishes they could say goodbye.
With sleet falling, making the atmosphere even more sullen, fellow competitors and fans stood in silence as the Kulwicki race team transporter slowly made its way around the half-mile Bristol International Raceway. NASCAR's assistant flagman Mike Chaplin saluted the champion by dropping the checkered flag one final time.
Apparently happened fast, so fast that air traffic controllers never got an indication of a problem.
When talking about his race in Darlington last Sunday, Alan Kulwicki said something that has even more meaning now. Alan said, quote, "There'll be another day when we'll be better." We'll be back in just a moment. Live now at Bristol Raceway, and we'll remember these hills of East Tennessee that took the lives of Alan Kulwicki, Mark Brooks, Dan Duncan, and Charles Campbell.
It was here in these majestic hills that tragedy has struck the motorsports world. On Thursday night at approximately 9:30 p.m., a fiery plane crash claimed the life of 38-year-old Wisconsin native Alan Kulwicki, along with 3 key members of his racing team. 48-year-old Hooters race team pilot Charlie Campbell of Peachtree City, Georgia. The 44-year-old director of sports marketing for Hooters, Dan Duncan of Taylor, South Carolina, and 26-year-old Mark Brooks of Atlanta, a driving force behind the success of this race team and son of Hooters CEO Robert Brooks. Hello everyone, I'm Jerry Punch, and we at ESPN would like to pass along our heartfelt sympathies to the families of those involved in this horrible tragedy. As part of the motorsports community, we too share your grief and together mourn the loss of our dear friends. Alan Kulwicki epitomized the American dream. 8 years ago, he moved south from his native Wisconsin with little more than a pickup truck and a pocket full of dreams, but soon earned the respect and admiration of his peers. Through tireless effort and sacrifice, he convinced crew members, competitors, and eventually an entire country that he was a winner. In 1992, November, a little over 5 months ago, the The ultimate underdog wrote the final chapter in his rags to riches journey as he captured the Winston Cup Championship along with the hearts of millions of race fans around the world. Yes, Alan Kulwicki is gone, but the legacy of his miraculous climb to the pinnacle of motorsports will stand as an inspiration to all for years to come. Who better to comment on the loss of a champion than our own two-time NASCAR champion, Ned Jarrett.
Jerry Alan Kulwicki has certainly left us with a tremendous amount of respect and inspiration. Inspiration for his fellow man and for a lot of race drivers. Many of the Busch Series drivers that we see racing today have been inspired by what they've seen Alan Kulwicki accomplish over the years, going from the short tracks in the Midwest to becoming the Winston Cup champion. They feel that the same opportunities are there for them that was there for him. And it's tough to lose Alan, certainly, but it's comforting to know that he is leaving us with a legacy and an inspiration that will live on for many years to come, and no doubt will have a profound effect on a lot of race drivers' careers, especially those who feel themselves as underdogs.
6 years ago, I was just a little guy with a dream that moved down south with a pickup truck and a trailer. After running a few NASCAR races and dreaming about it for 10 years, I thought, well, maybe I was ready to take a stab at it.
What Alan Kulwicki did with that pickup trailer, one race car, 2 engines, and mostly volunteer pit crew and some financial help from Quincy's, was win the 1986 Winston Cup Rookie of the Year. Alan spent the next 4 years building his team practically one wheel at a time, so it's no wonder that in 1991, when he had no sponsor, he didn't bail out and go drive for another team like he had offers to do. He stuck with it because he felt a certain responsibility to the people who had helped him build his team. Lo and behold, Hooters comes along and gives the team enough money to compete competitively. And Alan Kulwicki and his team of underdogs winning the 1992 Winston Cup Championship will never be forgotten.
I have been the underdog a lot of my career. You know, I didn't start out choosing to do it this way. It just sort of happened. And I started my own team out of necessity. And when there weren't any other offers, just kept building it up and got to the point where I just had too much invested in it, emotionally and financially, to give up on it. And you know, there's more things to life than just money and getting paid money to win races and drive cars. And there's, you know, the goal is to win races and a championship, and there's a lot of satisfaction in doing it this way. And if I've been an underdog, or if I've been an example to a lot of the little guys out there, then I'm proud to fill that role. I hope that when 1993 is over, that people at Winston, the people at NASCAR, and the competitors all look back and say, we were proud to have him represent us as our champion.
The transporter that carried Alan's car has made its final lap, and the checkered flag has fallen for the final time. It has returned to Charlotte, North Carolina, finding an outpouring of sympathy from race fans and loved ones. As long as racing continues, and as long as men seek and find the American dream, we will always remember Alan Kulwicki.
He's a true champion. We want to dedicate this race to Alan in the memory of him and all he accomplished, and to others like him.
I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Here at this fast half-mile racetrack in the fall.
Bob, the first 9 rows are pitting on the front stretch from row 10 on back. Those are the drivers back on the back stretch. You see Rick Mast and Bill Elliott will be back there, and everyone behind them.
And you may have noticed Jeff Gordon there starting in 21st position. He is the second fastest qualifier, just a tick of the watch slower than the pole sitter Rusty Wallace. But because he was a second-day qualifier, he will start in 21st spot. There goes Davey Allison to the inside of Bobby Hillen, and Jeff Gordon in car number 24 will come along.
Jeff Gordon is moving up through this field, gentlemen. He started in 21st position.
He's up to 12th.
He's up to 12th already.
That's pretty impressive on a racetrack that is very difficult to pass on.
Jeff Gordon, of course, has driven the open wheel cars on racetracks similar to this at Winchester and at Salem, but as far as a stock car is concerned, this must be a new experience to him. Of course, he's driven the Busch Grand National cars here, but never a Winston Cup race at Bristol for Jeff Gordon. Getting set up for a restart now.
And Jeff Gordon's going in the pits on the back straightaway.
Just as the cars get set to go green again, Gordon brings the DuPont Chevy in on the backstretch.
It feels like he had a flat tire. I saw him pull down to the inside of the track as he came down the front straightaway.
He's throwing water out of the car, and some of our spotters have told us.
Here's a green flag. We're back to racing with 93 laps completed. Dale Jarrett is still the leader of the race. Rusty Wallace second. Michael Waltrip is third, and then Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine.
That's Phil Parsons that Earnhardt's on the outside of the Manheim Auto Auction Chevrolet.
Gordon remains on the backstretch pit.
He has lost 2 laps already. The leading rookie contender this year, and was certainly a contender in this race. He has moved up through the field very nicely.
Had a good run going last week at Darlington until a crash sidelined him. Mechanical problems are bothering him here at Bristol.
Sterling Marlin in the blue and white 8, he made a pit stop. He made his lap up. He made a pit stop. And under NASCAR rules, lap cars can go to the front. He made a pit stop, got 4 crash tires, and pull right back up to the front of the pack.
There you can see that the hood is up on Gordon's car. John Kernan is making his way there, and we'll have a report in just a few minutes, but looks like it could be an overheating problem. Brett Bodine, with whom you are running, or you were there for a while, is running in 6th. Let's go to John Kernan, who's made his way back to Jeff Gordon.
Bob, Jeff Gordon's crew has just finished their work for what they've been able to do right now. Ray Evernham and the crew have added water. The car definitely overheating. They pulled some tape off of the front grille, trying to get a little more air into the radiator. Now these guys, you got to give them the Hustle Award this week. That race car is the same car that Jeff had a wreck in and crashed the rear end last Sunday at Darlington. Sunday night, they took it back to the race shop and stripped it. Monday morning, put a new rear clip on it, and Ray told me it was ready to go to the racetrack on Wednesday.
Unfortunately, the overheating problem has put him several laps behind as the action on the racetrack continues. The Ted Musgrave car. There is Ernie Irvin having a good run here at Bristol.
Jeff Gordon is several laps down in that 24 car. He had an overheating problem, stopped. They evidently cured it because he looks like he's running okay.
Unical bonus money up for grabs. There once again is the Bojangles 4 driven by Gary Cope out of the Cale Yarborough stable, and that car and that driver have both turned in outstanding. Ooh, and just as we say that, he spins.
He was running 7th. Michael Waltrip, they made contact with the pace car. Let's see if he can do. I don't know if he can.
Now there was no contact between Derek and anybody. He just lost it coming out of 2 and then slid down into the Michael Waltrip car, and Darrell just missed.
That's a tough break for Rusty Wallace because his huge lead. Yep. You never see Cope again. He gets a little bit high and gets out of that groove a little bit, got the car going, and just never could get the back end back. Michael makes a little bit of contact, just enough that he goes around, and Darrell goes between the 2 yellow cars along with someone else, and then Butcher cars goes through the middle.
The flat going into that corner so as to not mess those fellas up.
And meanwhile, as we watch all this, Rusty Wallace has a complete straightaway lead.
Back at Bristol, where we are cautioned for the 17th time on lap 479, Jeff Gordon spun and hit the wall up in turn number 2. Now watch what happens as Gordon's car comes down the banking.
There goes Harry Gant just by, and Earnhardt just turns that car dead left, just barely gets by. Boy.
And Jeff Gordon also had their problems during the race.
Gordon drove the car to his pit on the backstretch.
And you see Mark Martin on the inside of Rusty Wallace. He's a couple of laps.
Kyle Petty moving around Darrell Walter with those fresh tires, takes over the 4th position. That was a very good move, as a matter of fact, on Kyle Petty. Jimmy Spencer has fresh tires too. He's coming up on there.
Boy, Kyle with those new tires is going to the front. He may be a factor in this race, huh?
Well, he could be, but I don't think he'll be a factor to catch Rusty, but he certainly has gained several positions by taking on those tires. So that was a very, very good move by Robin Pemberton and the folks on the 42 car to make that pit stop.